So this frame is a very simple frame, but it's made with a croton tree and mahogany. So mahogany, used to grow throughout Africa, but now it's mainly imported through the Congo. It's becoming very endangered over there. This white part that you see is actually a croton megalocarpus, which is an indigenous tree to Africa. Traditionally, it's been used to treat wounds, indigestion, stomach aches, and alleviate fever. We no longer do that because now you go for Panadol and you're done, you know? So I chose to mix these two together to showcase how we have, a lot within our continents, using more of sustainable means of producing what we do. So you'll see a lot of bigger workshops using fresh wood and virgin wood. So you'll find bits and pieces of wood all over in Kenya, which is like a really surprising thing. So we've gathered wood from demolished houses, we've gathered wood from road constructions, we've gathered wood that it stays with us. And I think the scariest part of growing older and moving on through the decades is that the way that we did things 100 years ago is now outdated.
This looks very interesting.
So I got this while traveling in Ethiopia. It's now the stories of these things is so hard to actually find because
Nairobian, tomorrow is the day.
Yes.
You have to be here. Should be here. You will see even more than this. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
All right, so you can start introducing yourself, your names, and what do people should expect for your stand tomorrow?
Okay, so my name is Sidania. I run Manakristo Designs. Originally, it was just a frame making shop, but through time, we started digging deeper into using more of sustainable means of producing what we do. So you'll see a lot of bigger workshops using fresh wood and virgin wood. But for ourselves, instead of going in that direction, we decided that we'll be using a lot of reclaimed wood and salvaged wood. And we realized that through that means basically that we get more variety than you would anywhere else. So we work with at least 15 different kinds of woods. A lot of them are exotic, a lot of them are very limited edition, and even though what we do are small things basically. So as you can see, there's the frames, and we stuck to that model mainly because the amount of wood we find is limited. So a lot of it is a one-off, it's bespoke. Through time, we started researching our African heritage. Not just where the wood came from, because some of the woods we find is not endemic, not just to Kenya, but it's not endemic to even Africa. Now you start to think, where did this come from? How did it get here? And you realize it's through trade with continents as far as South America for wood that's more endemic to South America. Once you start to research that, you literally go down a rabbit hole. Now you want to understand, how did it end up in Kenya? That it didn't come here because we were shipping furniture over. It came here because during a certain period of time, during that colonization of 100 plus years, there were a lot of people that brought things over, and then once it was no longer needed, it would be dumped. So you'll find bits and pieces of wood all over in Kenya, which is like a really surprising thing. So we've gathered wood from demolished houses, we've gathered wood from road constructions, we've gathered wood that has been cut down for funeral purposes. They want to bury someone, there's no space, so they chop down a tree. So we go in and we take that. So where we find wood is not normally where other people find wood. So once we start researching the wood, now we start researching the different artifacts we have in Africa. necklaces, earrings, bangles, different accessories for our homes. And what do they mean? Why are we not wearing it anymore? It's too ornate, it's too cumbersome, it's out of style, it's from 100 years ago. So these are not things we really want to be using today, which is understandable because the times have moved on. But the biggest thing is we've also forgotten that it exists. So you'll find it thrown in some cabinet because it doesn't appeal to someone in 2024, you know? So the biggest thing we wanted to do for Nairobi Design Week was to take all these things, put them in a collection like this, where you see designs that come from Ethiopia, where the nobility used to wear them, but you end up finding the history of it goes as far as Armenia and Iran. It was made by Jewish craftsmen, and you start to see the linkages between Africa and the rest of the world. Some of these designs are 500-600 years old. Some of them predate white man coming here. And what that means is Africa was trading with countries like China and India, all right, from way, way back before the Portuguese or the Dutch sailed to Africa, basically. We're not a dark continent. We've never been an isolated continent. But the way that Africa has been talked about has been very skewed, and it's always been very one-sided. And now my aim through this exhibit is to showcase our heritage and culture that spans hundreds and hundreds of years. We just need to dig a little deeper than just the surface, basically.
That is very interesting. So it's clear that your brand or this business, it provides jobs to people. If I heard the way you corrected the words, the way you, so can you tell us a little bit about the team and how proud are you to employ Africans to create jobs to people? How do you think about that?
Okay, so I'm from Ethiopia, but I live in Kenya. My family is Kenyan. One of the things that I know is I know my limitations. So when you're employing people, you know the Wakamba people are good at carving. You know there are other people that are good at painting and different aspects of the creative structure, basically. So we don't necessarily have a big team. Our team comprises of partnerships and collaborations with many single artists, where someone will do the carving for us, someone will do the painting for us, someone will teach us the history of beads, for instance, from the Maasai to the Samburu people to counterparts in places like Ghana and Senegal, to understand the history of the beads that we use in our work, understanding the kinds of wood that has been traditionally used within Africa. We've had artists who've done some artwork for me from Ethiopia, because again, we're limited in our talents. But if you intend to create African things, there's no one better than the local person to do it for you. You can bring in experts from all over, but the local knowledge, the local know-how, the indigenous knowledge that we keep on losing through time, it stays with us. And I think the scariest part of growing older and moving on through the decades is that the way that we did things 100 years ago is now outdated, because we have machines, we have, you can cut wood through laser and whatever. So the handcraft that was there before no longer exists, and the only way you can maintain it is by actually going down to the grassroots level sometimes and asking those people to teach it to you, learn from them, and then have them do some of these things, because it also creates a livelihood for them as well.
Okay, so looking back there, let's just a little bit,
Sure.
if you can maybe pick one piece, you can tell us more about it. I should
Okay.
maybe pick, or you pick, which one should you?
I'll start with.
Yeah, sure,
Manakristo.
please, yeah, okay.
So this frame is a very simple frame, but it's made with a croton tree and mahogany. So mahogany, used to grow throughout Africa, but now it's mainly imported through the Congo. It's becoming very endangered over there. This white part that you see is actually a Croton megalocarpus, which is an indigenous tree to Africa. Traditionally, it's been used to treat wounds, indigestion, stomach aches, and alleviate fever. We no longer do that because now you go for Panadol and you're done, you know? So I chose to mix these two together to showcase how we have, you know, a lot within our continents. And then, so this is an Ethiopian woven cotton scarf, and it's laid over with the Maasai necklace on top of it. I chose this design. This was done in Masai Mara, so it came directly from, you know, the local women who do this there. And yeah, it creates a livelihood for them. This is what they make every day. Bead making within these tribes is something, it's a culture and tradition that's passed from the mother to the child. So when you go, you'll find the grandmother, the mother, and the child sitting together outside doing all these beads, you know? And it warms your heart because you want to see continue, you want to see them thrive, and you want to see them succeed in these things. So you bring it out here to show people that even if you don't wear the necklaces for yourself, you know, because you can't go to work like that, you know, but you can have it in your home. It's a reminder of where you come from. It's part of your culture. So instead of buying things from the West or, you know, adorning our houses with, you know, very European things, this is something you can tell your children about so that eventually they have pride in their own culture as well. You don't have to be Maasai to wear this, all right? You don't have to be Kenyan to wear this. This is African, and it connects all of us basically.
Okay, so the last one, I love this one. I want to know what is about this. It looks very interesting.
So I got this while traveling in Ethiopia. It's now the stories of these things is so hard to actually find because it's what they call an amulet necklace, and it's silver. And traditionally, what you would have is inside the tube is, depending where you come from. If you're from the Middle East, like countries like Yemen, Oman, what you put inside is Quranic verses for protection. If you're a Christian, what you put inside are Bible verses to protect you from evil, basically. So one side of it comes out. Your Bible verses are written in little scrolls and put inside. And sometimes they're sealed shut, but sometimes you can also open it. So when the seal's shut, the wearer is protected either by Allah or by God, basically. Yeah.
So thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And Nairobian, tomorrow is the day.
Yes.
You have to be here. Should be here. You will see even more than this. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate.
Thanks.
Thank you.